Joe mentioned the new piece from Andrew Weissman and Ryan Goodman, legal analysts and frequent guests on our show, explains how former President Trump could potentially face additional charges in the classified documents case in New Jersey. They describe in The Atlantic how Trump took classified records from Mar-a-Lago to Bedminster, New Jersey, where he showed some of the contents to other people. Andrew and Ryan write, quote, the legal uncertainties that surround bringing charges in Florida for dissemination of national security secrets in Bedminster leaves open the possibility that charges might be brought in New Jersey, a backup plan of sorts for Smith. If Aileen Cannon, the Florida judge assigned to the case, were to seek to pocket veto the charges before her by, say, scheduling the trial for after the 2024 presidential election, the special counsel would be able to sidestep her tactic by proceeding with charges in New Jersey. In fact, the Miami indictment conspicuously excludes many facts surrounding Trump's actions in Bedminster, what boxes were taken there, what they contained, how they were kept at the golf club. This silence suggests there might be more to come from the famously hard-charging Smith and his team of prosecutors who put together an otherwise highly detailed 49-page indictment. Joyce Vance, a new twist here put forward by Andrew Weissman and Ryan Goodman. What do you make of that idea?
Well, 10 days ago, we weren't really talking about an indictment in Florida. That makes it clear to us that Jack Smith is very capable of staying quite quiet about what his next plans are. And something that struck many of us the minute we read this indictment was that they seemed to walk right up to the precipice with these Bedminster allegations. There are two instances where the former president appears to have shown classified material to other people. It's not entirely clear that he actually had the documents with him, and so there are some factual sort of needles that would need to be threaded here. But it was very interesting that they didn't do anything additional with those allegations, and that's led to speculation that there could be an additional case brewing in New Jersey. Lots of procedural issues to be resolved. If there are two cases like that, there might be some possibility that the former president could try to consolidate them and face trial only in Florida. But this is a very intriguing sort of piece that Ryan has written along with Andrew, and it suggests that DOJ is not out of moves here.
Yeah, and Jen Psaki, we've heard from the very beginning from all sides that the prosecutor never shows everything up front, that they're going to have more. And here we have the possibility of a New Jersey nightmare for Trump, possibly the most serious charges being moved far away from Florida. Again, we didn't even know 10 days ago he was going to bring something in Florida. But again, he seems to me he's got quite a few options.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an important reminder, Joe, that we only know a sliver, right? Even with all of this excellent reporting that's been going on around these different cases and the potential for indictments for months, even years now, we only know a sliver. And the Department of Justice, the special counsel and his team, they know much more. So that's why this is such an interesting thing to watch. One of the other things that Andrew Weissman said in one of his many, many appearances this week that I thought was fascinating is that when Trump spoke the other night after his arraignment, he essentially, again, kind of admitted to everything he has done, right? He essentially confessed in those remarks. That is also potentially admissible in court. As he goes out there and campaigns and he's admitting to, I took the documents. He's not saying he didn't. He's saying he was allowed to. That is also information that Jack Smith and his team continues to look at. Interesting because it's happening in a week where in the E. Jean Carroll case, a judge ruled that because of what he said at the CNN town hall, that could be, that's admissible in court. So all of this is fascinating to watch. Who knows what Jack Smith, all of the documents and files he has and his team has, and we probably will not know for a while.